Can one card kit really take you beyond your usual crafting style? Today, we are putting that to test. After quite a long time, I'm finally diving into another card kit unboxing, and this one is the beautiful Simon System Long Stem Florals card kit packed with gorgeous products and endless creative possibilities. This kit honestly feels like a playground for card makers. What really drew me to this kit is how different it feels from my usual style. The products are not only incredibly versatile, but they also challenge me to step out of my comfort zone and try something new. I already have a few projects planned, but for today's video, I wanted to pair the unboxing with a little inspiration. So I created 3 cards using the stamp and stencil combo that is included in the kit. I absolutely fell in love with this set while making these cards, and honestly, I already can't wait to create more of these. These designs definitely lean a little closer to my personal crafting style, and I'm so excited to share them with you guys. So let's unbox this kit together and see just how many creative possibilities are packed inside it. Hello, crafty friends. I'm Revati, and welcome to my crafty space. Today we are taking a look at the Simon's Stamp Long Stem Florals Card Kit May 2026, and just like always, this kit is absolutely packed with fun and inspiring supplies for card makers. One thing I always love about these kits is the inspiration sheet that is included inside. It features some beautiful cards and creative projects made by some incredibly talented designers. And honestly, it is such a great way to spark new ideas before you even start crafting. You'll also find designs and inspirations on the Simon's Stamp blog page. I will leave a link to all of those in the description box below. Now, the very first thing that caught my eye when this kit was released was definitely the gorgeous frames and roses from the Tim Holtz Ideology collection. They instantly stood out to me and gave the entire kit such a unique vintage inspired feel. I already knew these pieces were going to be so much fun to craft with. There are 5 beautiful deco frames in this kit, and these are actually metal adornments. They feel really sturdy and have a nice weight to them, and honestly look even better in person. The moment I saw them, I knew I was going to create some mixed media project because they would work so beautifully for adding dimension and texture. Next, we have this pack of gorgeous white roses. I'm not exactly sure how many are included altogether in this pack, but I do notice 3 different rose sizes in this pack. I feel like these would pair perfectly with the vintage inspired cards or projects, layered mixed media pieces, or even shabby chic style projects. They add such a soft and elegant touch, and I can already imagine so many creative ways to use them. Next, we have the Tim Holtz Distress Crayon in Walnut Stain shade, and this is such a fun addition to the kit. Distress crayons are water reactive pigments, and they're amazing to create messy, aged, and distress effects on porous surfaces. And this particular shade I feel would be perfect for your vintage inspired projects. Next, we have a bottle of the Tim Holtz Distress Matte Collage Medium in the mini size. This is such a staple product for any kind of mixed media crafting. It works wonderfully for gluing, layering, and sealing your projects. And then we have this jar of Tim Holtz Distress Embossing Glaze in this gorgeous, vibrant pink shade. I love how bright and bold this color is, and it would add such a fun pop of color to any distress style project. Now, let's move on to the beautiful papers that is included in the kit. These are the Simple Stories vintage junk drawer papers, and they are absolutely packed with gorgeous vintage inspired designs. We've got 12 double sided sheets, and each sheet is sturdy 65-pound weight, which makes them perfect not only for card making but also for layering and mixed media projects. The designs in this collection are honestly stunning. We have vintage clocks, graceful birds, blooming florals, typewriter keys, and so much more beautifully detailed patterns that instantly give you that nostalgic vintage feel. Now, one thing I really love about this collection is the color palette. It combines some soft pinks, we have warm yellows, oranges, greens, blues, browns, and even touches of black. Such a versatile combination for mixing, matching, and creating layered designs with lot of depth and interest. And as a fun bonus, the collection also includes two designer print sheets filled with tags and journal elements, plus two sheets of 3 by 4 greeting card elements to really help jumpstart your creativity right away. I'll be actually sharing in another video soon where I create cards using all of these gorgeous papers, so definitely stay tuned for that. Now, moving on to the next set of products in the kit, we have the Simon's Stamp Scoville Tag die set. This is such a fun, versatile nesting die that includes 8 different tag dies, all featuring this really fun and unique shape. The set also includes coordinating round and rounded arch reinforcer dies, which not only strengthen the tag openings but also add an extra stylish detail to your finished product. And finally, we have the star of this entire kit, which is the Simon's Stamp Long Stem Floral Stamp Set. Now, this is a 4 by 6-inch clear stamp featuring 5 gorgeous floral images along with a selection of versatile sentiments like just for you, thank you, thinking of you, love you, and mom. Now, to coordinate with this stamp set, we also get the matching stencil that works perfectly with these floral images. I absolutely love how this stencil helps to create a soft, artistic, and almost abstract painting like look for those stamped images. These two are the products that I'll be using to create our cards today. Next, we have a sheet of the Simple Stories vintage junk drawer rub-ons, and this is another incredibly versatile addition to the kit. Now, these rub-ons coordinate perfectly with the pattern papers and carry over all those beautiful vintage-inspired images and details. They are such an easy way to add those extra layers, texture, and visual interest to your projects without adding any bulk to your project. And last but not the least, we have some beautiful papers and cardstocks included in the kit. We have the Tim Holtz Ideology Rose Gold Metallic Craft Cardstock. This is 6 by 9-inch size. And we have some fun cardstocks by Simon. We have apricot, steel, and ivory. Beautiful colors that would coordinate perfectly with the contents of the kit. I really love this color palette included here because it ties in perfectly with the vintage inspired products throughout the kit while still giving you plenty of versatility for layering and using them as card bases. So everything in the kit feels so thoughtfully coordinated, and I honestly can't wait to start mixing all these elements together in my projects. Well, today we will be creating some really clean and simple cards. That is mostly my style, but I do plan to take things a little step further. I'll be diving into some fun creative cards using pattern papers from the kit and also experimenting with a few mixed media projects as well. Now, that's a little bit of a shift from my usual card making style, but honestly, that's why this makes it so exciting. This kit is pushing me to explore new techniques, play with texture, and just enjoy the process in a whole different way. So, let's get started and see where the creativity takes us today. At first, I honestly planned to create just one card using the stamp and stencil combo from this kit, but once I finished the first design, I quickly realized how versatile it is. There are so many possibilities that I couldn't stop at once, so I ended up creating 3 cards instead. What's interesting is that all the 3 cards actually follow the same basic technique. The foundation stays consistent throughout, but what changes is the focal point and the floral image, the sentiment placement, and of course the color combinations. And that's what I love the most about this kind of design approach. Once you build a solid base technique, you can easily stretch it into multiple unique techniques just by switching up a few creative elements. For my very first card, I kept things super clean and simple. I used one of the floral images from the stamp set along with a sentiment that says just for you. The goal here was to let the design breathe and really keep the focus on the elegant floral detail. Now, before stamping, I made sure that the sentiment was perfectly aligned onto my panel, and then I stamped it using VersaFine Onyx Black ink for that rich, crisp impression. I actually stamped it twice to ensure that I got a really bold, clean result. Once I was happy with the stamping, I heat embossed it using Simon's clear embossing powder, which gives that subtle shine and helps lock in a really professional polished finish. Even though this is a very small stamped area, I still made sure to keep my heat tool moving constantly so that the paper does not warp or get damaged while embossing. Now, I hadn't originally planned to bring in ink blending or use stencil on this card. I thought I would just use my alcohol markers. But before I get into that step of ink blending, I really wanted to share something exciting. I picked up these ink blending brushes from the Simon Create event at Columbus, Ohio, that I attended last week. Now, I have to say, it was such a fun experience. Honestly, one of the best crafting events I have been to in a long time. It was amazing reconnecting with old friends, meeting some crafters for the very first time, and of course, making a bunch of new crafty connections along the way. Between all the shopping, crafting, and creative inspiration, it truly turned into a lifetime of memories wrapped in the best kind of creative chaos. Now, coming back to our card, if you take a closer look at the stamp set, you'll notice that each floral image is labeled with an alphabet. The coordinating stencil is labeled the same way, which makes it super easy to know exactly which stencil section matches with which of those stamp set. Now, for this card, I chose floral A, so aligning the stencil was really straightforward. I just matched up the areas marked A and everything fell into place perfectly. Now, one important thing to note is that the stencil openings don't align perfectly with the stamped floral shape. And honestly, that's what makes this set so special. Instead of being overlay precise, you end up creating this beautiful abstract, artsy effect using just stamping and simple ink blending. To keep everything clean and controlled, I masked off the other stencil openings using post it notes so no ink would accidentally drift into unwanted areas. The goal was to keep this design crisp and minimal. And of course, for my very first card, I had to go with my absolute favorite color combination, which is pink and orange. I used the Simon's Stamp Positively Saturated ink pads for all the blending. These new ink blending brushes are honestly a game changer too. They come in two different sizes. I have the small and the large one, and well, I use the smaller brushes for that detailed floral areas, while the larger blending brush helped me smoothly build color in the background of the stem. It makes the whole process so smooth and effortless and really fun to work with. And well, we could not miss some beautiful black splatters on this card front. I just covered my sentiments and added some black watercolor splatters all over the panel. While my watercolor splatters were drying, instead of creating a card base, I actually moved straight into creating my second card. This time I chose three floral images from the stamp set and layered them side by side to create a more full clustered floral composition. And to complement that, I added two sentiments, love you and mom. And honestly, this makes such a perfect Mother's Day card. For the color palette, I went with a soft and beautiful mix of purple, pink, and teals for the florals, and then grounded the design with the matching green base to tie everything together. It has that fresh floral feel while still keeping the clean and simple design, and this looks absolutely balanced. You could absolutely take this in a rainbow direction too. Imagine all those petals blending through a full spectrum of color. Now, that would be such a fun and playful twist on this design. But whichever color pattern you choose, one thing is really important. Make sure to properly mask off the areas of the stencil you don't want to ink. It really helps keep everything controlled and intentional. The last thing you want is color bleeding or smudging across your panel and distracting from that clean, crisp finish. A little bit of masking goes a long way in keeping your design polished and truly clean and simple. The key with ink blending is to start light and build gradually. It's always easier to add more color than to take it away, especially when you're working with clean and simple designs like this. Gentle circular motions with your brush helps avoid any harsh lines and creates that soft diffuse look around the edges of your florals. Another thing that's really helpful is working in layers. You can go back in with slightly deeper shades in certain areas to create that sense of dimension, almost like natural shadows on the petals. Now, once all of this image was done, I did bring my panel back into my splatter box, and just like we did with our panel number one, We will first cover our sentiments and then add some beautiful black watercolor splatters to this panel as well. I absolutely love the little black dots on the panel, which is such a clean and simple design, but the splatter definitely adds that beautiful visual contrast to all the colors in the background. And finally, moving on to card number 3. For this one, I kept the same floral cluster from card number 2, but removed the multiple sentiments and just added that single sentiment that reads just for you to keep the focus clean and intentional. Now, what's really fun about this card is that I decided to break away from that intended stencil coordination. Instead of aligning it with the floral image, I simply rotated the stencil and used the edge details to create my own abstract border pattern along the left hand side of the panel. I stayed completely consistent with the color palette from the previous two cards, building the pattern in this order. We have pink, followed by orange, purple, teal, and finally green. I absolutely love how this turned out, and it has such a modern, artsy feel while still staying cohesive with the rest of the set. It is also really it also really proves that you don't have to always use coordinating products in the exact same way that they are designed. Sometimes the most interesting results come from experimenting and letting the tools work in completely unexpected ways. Once I finished the ink blending, I didn't immediately remove the stencil off the ultra sticky mat. Instead, I carefully transferred the entire setup straight into my splatter box to keep everything contained and mess free. Next, I masked off all the areas where we used the floral ink blending and left just the areas where we now did all of that beautiful colored ink blending. Then I went with my shimmer mist, gently spraying over those openings. I really wanted to add a bit of shine and sparkle to this card, something that would catch the light and bring a soft glow to the design. After that, I carefully removed the stencil and placed the panel back into the splatter box. At that point, I made sure to immediately clean my sticky mat and the stencil before moving on, even before adding any black splatters, just to avoid any of that ink setting in and spoiling my stencil or my mat. Finally, I masked the sentiment area and finished the panel with black watercolor splatters all over the background. That contrast between the soft shimmer and that dramatic splatter really brought the whole design together and added so much energy and depth to our card. And just like that, I had three beautifully finished card panels ready to go, which I adhered onto coordinating card bases to complete the design. I absolutely love how each of these turned out. Even though they all follow the same foundation technique, each card has its own personality through color, composition, and small design shifts. And this is really just the beginning. I'm so excited to dive back into the skit and explore more ideas using the pattern papers for those stunning deco frames and those gorgeous roses. There's still so much creative potential left to explore, and I can't wait to share those projects with you next. The card kit is currently sold out, but the great news is that all of these products are available separately. I'll make sure to link every individual product in the description box below, along with the inks that I used to bring all these beautiful floral images to life. Please note that all of these links will be affiliate links, which means that if you shop using one of my links, I'll get a small commission at no cost to you guys. Thank you again for joining me today. Until next time, stay safe.